Craig Evans is here, and we're going to be talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Some of you have not had too much exposure to those, so let's take a little look at a little clip here from the Israel Antiquities Authority about the Dead Sea Scrolls, then Dr. Evans.
East of the city, the mountains of Jerusalem plummet dramatically 1,200 meters to the lowest point on earth, the Dead Sea. In the intense heat of the barren Judean desert, David fled from King Saul, seeking refuge in the mountain caves. John the Baptist lived on locusts and wild honey. And here, Jesus rejected the temptations of the devil. For thousands of years, the Judean desert held secrets buried in its sands. In 1947, a young Bedouin shepherd threw a stone into a cave and was startled by the sound of breaking pots. This sound echoed around the world, for he had stumbled on the greatest find of the century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Blind to their value, the Bedouins sold the scrolls to an antique dealer in Bethlehem. Braving Arab-Jewish riots, Hebrew University professor Elazar Sukenik traveled to Bethlehem, returning with 3 scrolls wrapped in paper. Opening one, he was amazed by a Hebrew manuscript of the prophet Isaiah, 1,000 years older than any existing original biblical text. News of the discovery sent archaeologists as well as Bedouin treasure hunters racing to excavate the area. In Cave 4 alone, dug out of the sheer face of an escarpment, Bedouin found 15,000 fragments from about 500 scrolls. In another cave, archaeologists unearthed a unique 2-part copper scroll, listing sites of buried treasure of gold and silver, an enigma unraveled to this day. The Rockefeller Museum building in Jerusalem became home to the abundant fragments of disintegrating parchment collected from 11 caves.
If you've ever been through Wolfville, Nova Scotia, undoubtedly you've seen the campus of Acadia University. On the campus is the Acadia Divinity College. And Dr. Craig Evans is a distinguished professor of New Testament studies there, and has co-edited with John Collins from Yale, right?
That's right, John's from Yale.
Yeah, Christian Beginnings in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which I read over the last few days. And having lived in Israel for 7 years and with a lot of friends who are professors, I got right into it. It's terrific stuff. But for most people, Craig, there's a kind of an air of mystery about the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, we've just seen this clip. Fill in the blanks. 1947, 1948, they were discovered. They're actually still being discovered in a sense, aren't they?
That's correct. Yeah, we think it was in early spring 1947 that the first cave was found, but it wasn't until November of 1947 that scholars actually had a chance to see the scrolls, and then they were photographed famously by John Trevor in February of 1948, and that's when the world discovered the whole thing, and everybody got excited.
Now, there's something kind of Indiana Jones-ish about this. I mean, and in fact, I think, to be frank, some people have taken these ancient texts and have kind of used them and abused them to their own ends.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, when the first cave was found, it was more looting than it was archaeology, and that makes it a lot like Indiana Jones. Later on, serious archaeology got underway, but that didn't keep the crackpots from doing things with the scrolls and coming up with all sorts of silly theories. And they're still with us to this day, even in recent years. Outrageous claims about the scrolls and what they contain, and deep, dark secrets, things that the Vatican doesn't want you to find out about. And that's behind the Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, and now we got this new movie out, Angels and Demons, and they're just continuing this. And of course, if you're dealing with people who are biblically illiterate, let alone historically illiterate, it's pretty intriguing stuff. Everybody loves a good conspiracy theory, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. And I can understand why the average person in the street doesn't know what to make of the scrolls, because just about every time they hear about them, the scrolls are linked with something controversial, something outrageous, something that supposedly will embarrass the church. And so it's very important then for those who actually know what the scrolls are and know that they are important, they are serious, and in fact they don't damage Christian faith or Christian beliefs at all. Well, for those of us who know these things, we need to speak out. We need to make these things known.
It would also help if the scholars who are assessing and analyzing the scrolls got along.
Well, scholars, of course, will always disagree about things. And on the edges of all of this, there are a lot of areas where we can disagree.
A lot of territorial fights.
Well, yeah, and of course, just recently it's been in the media, you know, the ongoing debate that comes up from time to time, who really owns the scrolls and that kind of thing.
Well, yeah. But
So-
I mean, they were found in a place called Qumran down by the Dead Sea. And at that time, Jordan was overseeing
That's
that area, right? So the sale of the scrolls, and essentially most of them were sold, was sold by the Jordanians to the Israelis.
That's right, either directly or indirectly. So I'm not really sure why there is the dispute, why some Palestinians or others say that Israel should not own the scrolls. It was just a free market in those days, believe me. The Hashemite kingdom of Jordan, they didn't care that much about them. These scrolls were found by Bedouins, sold by Bedouin to antiquities dealers, and eventually wound up in the hands of Israelis for the most part. So I'm not really sure what all the complaint is, but it occasionally arises.
My neighbor in Jerusalem, whose name shall not be divulged, was the one who negotiated the sale of the temple scroll from an antiquities dealer in Bethlehem. And I've spent many hours with him hearing this story. You talk about cloak and dagger.
Yes, that's right. I met this antiquities dealer, and you know what? There's a lot of hard feelings in that family.
I think there are. I think there are. But let's get to it. Why are the Dead Sea Scrolls important? For the average viewer, the average believer, why are they so vital?